Crimean Initiative is a parliamentary initiative that revolves around this tragedy. Instead of the EU giving them billions of euros for all these years to help them develop and to eradicate corruption and political extremism, which Kiev had more of than anywhere else, we are now expected to train their soldiers.
Croatian President Milanovic might be on to something here in his attempt to read the tea leaves ahead of the U.S. midterm elections in a couple of weeks. The Democrats are in a really might be on to something here in his attempt to read the tea leaves ahead of the U.S. midterm elections in a couple of weeks. The Democrats are in a really tight race with Republicans for control of the House, the Senate, and also several states. And the number one issue for American voters by far is inflation, with Ukraine way down that list of priorities. But here's Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi running off to a foreign country instead of towards the finish line in the final stretch of the race to attend a conference about deoccupying Crimea when people there voted 8 years ago in favor of what the West keeps qualifying as occupation. Meanwhile, the Biden administration and the Democratic House and Senate majorities keep routinely shoveling billions of dollars in cash and weapons out the door to Kiev, enabling a war that's completely deregulating the energy markets and is a big contributing factor to the cost of living problem that American voters are so upset about right now. So, talk about tone deaf. If Democrats lose these elections and current Republican House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy takes Pelosi's place as House Majority Leader, he's already said that there shouldn't be a, quote, blank check for Ukraine, for which Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney attacked him as the, quote, leader of the pro-Putin wing of my party. Because, if you're actively questioning America's military strategy in Ukraine now, well, then you're with Vladimir Putin. Guess that means that most of America is too then, since a Quincy Institute poll last month found that 57% of Americans want Washington to engage in diplomacy with Russia immediately, even if it means making compromises with Moscow. Now, Romania he has resigned over those remarks just a week later, citing, quote, an inability to collaborate with Romanian President Klaus Iohannis, who's commander-in-chief of the army. Now, here are these controversial remarks that he said.
The war will continue, and the only chance that Ukraine has, especially to end the war, the only chance for peace may be negotiations. Negotiations with Russia.
That was enough to spark a resignation. Really? Is cancel culture coming for people who...
Negotiations with Russia.
That was enough to spark a resignation. Really? Is cancel culture coming for people who merely advocate for peace and diplomacy now? But despite continued efforts to shore up public opinion in favor of fueling continued conflict in Ukraine by multiplying these kind of events like this one in Zagreb, seems like calls for de-escalation and peace are growing nonetheless.